Hi, Dr. David here, author of Sex Under the Influence, Understanding and Healing from Sexualized Drug Use, hot off the press. Today, though, I'd like to talk about another disorder, a mental health issue, and how it can affect sexuality. And that today is ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. This is something that is commonly diagnosed more in the United States than elsewhere, but it is diagnosed everywhere, often with children, and now more and more, increasingly, we're finding it among adults as well. I do think to some extent it is overdiagnosed sometimes, but there are millions and millions of people who legitimately have ADHD, sometimes controlled with medications, which can cause their own problems, sometimes not as well controlled. But in any case, ADHD and sex equals some specific issues, right? And so we know that ADHD can affect sex in a number of ways. It can impact arousal. It can impact levels of arousal, so people can become hyper aroused or very aroused. It can cause great impulsivity. People with ADHD often kind of jump from one thing to the next. They don't have good impulse control. And so if a thought comes along, they're distracted, right? And so kind of often running. And that can lead to problems with focus. So these are some of the overarching ways that ADHD can impact sexual behavior. Let's look at one of them, hyperfocus, right? This kind of tunnel vision, focusing on one element that can be part of an ADHD experience. So that can actually be an enhancer for sex, right? If you're really focused on a perfect sensation or a particular movement or something that you're just locked in on and it's pleasurable, that can be a good thing. The problem is with ADHD, it can also be the other thing, right? We can lose focus. We can lose focus because our minds are kind of constantly going all over the place, which can be very frustrating, not only for the individual, but for their partner as well. And so that ability to regain focus, to kind of come back to center oneself is really important. These are tools that are useful for ADHD, not just in the sexual realm, right? Things like mindfulness, things like different meditation techniques, cognitive behavioral therapy. All of these are great ways to deal with impulsivity, to deal with distractions, to kind of come back to center. There are ways to do this, but all the problems that you see in ADHD life are going to overflow into the sexual realm as well. And the same solutions can be useful for those. One thing that I think is really important to mention here is that ADHD medications can also affect sexual functioning. Sometimes the amphetamines really can drive up the sexual arousal, which can become a problem for somebody with ADHD. They have a hard time controlling those impulses. And other meds, some of the SSRIs that we sometimes see prescribed, can actually inhibit sexual arousal. So you have medications working both ways to push and pull sexual functioning, but more than that, with ADHD, you just have this great ability to be distracted and lose focus that can impact everybody's pleasure. Dr. David here, signing out.